Okay. So one of the biggest things is what we were just saying is you've got to keep your sense of humor and just understand that it's going to be rough.
Okay.
And it does not, most of the time we have a great time with these lessons. We have to have fun. If you keep the right frame of mind, you're probably going to stall the car about 20 times or maybe 40 times or 50.
Oh, great.
Every time it happens, you just have to take a deep breath. Okay, back in with the clutch, whatever the
Are
steps
people
are,
gonna
I'll
like
explain
honk at
those.
me and get mad?
Sometimes they do, but we don't care. Because if
Okay.
they do, they're unreasonable.
Okay.
At some point, they had to learn to drive. If they do know how to drive a stick at all, they had to learn, and they should remember how this all was. But
Okay.
now, have you ever tried to drive a stick shift car at all?
Nope.
Brand
My
new
dad
with
won't
this.
let me.
No problem. First, we have to kind of understand how it works. Basically, when you turn the key on, okay, when we turn the key on, right now I'm in neutral
Uh-huh.
and I have the clutch in. Both of those things are going to disconnect the engine from the wheels. There's no power going to the wheels.
Okay.
It's just like in a manual transmission, or excuse me, in an automatic transmission, if you had it in park, even if the engine's running, it's not going anywhere. It's in a kind of a different gear. It's disconnected.
Okay.
Okay? When we put it in gear, and I still have the parking brake on, so it's not going anywhere. But if you release that clutch, what's going to happen is there's going to be a connection made between the wheels and the engine, the drive line and the engine, basically, so it wants to start going.
Okay.
We have to make that connection very carefully. That's when people are killing the car, is right when you're trying to connect those two things. If
You
it
do it
grabs
too
too
fast.
fast, then it dies. Or if it's too slow or you don't have enough, there's quite a few variables, but we've got to figure out what
Okay.
they are, and just making that connection is what this whole thing's really all about. That's the challenge of this whole thing. What we have with the engine is basically it spins. There's a flywheel on the engine, which is just a flat wheel that spins really fast, or however fast it's spinning now. The clutch, this is called the clutch frequently, but that's just the pedal that controls the clutch. The clutch is actually another flat little plate that's going to go connect with that plate, and they're going to spin together at some point.
Okay.
They both have kind of a sandpaper surface on them. So this one's spinning, spinning, spinning. When this one finally grabs, they're both going to spin together, and now your wheels have some power and it's going. You've connected the two.
Okay.
So that's the connection. When you're first starting to connect, when you're first going from a stop to a start, that's the hardest part. Shifting from second gear, third gear, fourth gear, those are all easy. The hardest part is going from a stop and getting that connection made and keeping the car going and moving along. So what we do is release the clutch to the point where you can feel we call it a friction point, when there's going to start to be some connection there. Release it to that point where there's some friction going on, and you just have to ease it on there very, very gradually. If you do it gradually enough, it should keep going for you. As long as you have enough gas going too. You got to also make sure you're feeding enough gas to it to keep the engine alive.
So my feet are going like this?
Basically, your pedals are going like this to some
Okay.
extent, yes. You're going to be releasing the clutch and making sure it stays alive by keeping a little bit more gas on it.
Okay.
And I'll show you, and we'll talk about it more as we go. That's the general idea.